Welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and Kisma. I'm Kisma, and today we've got such a special guest that I am super excited about. Her name is Sue B. Zimmerman, and she's the Instagram expert, and we're going to dive in just a few minutes with Sue B. Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and Kisma, bringing you ancient wisdom for modern day success so that you can have the mindset to get your life and business set.
As always, thank you for tuning in. And if you're new to the podcast, take a quick second to hit the subscribe button in iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. If you want to get the inside info for this and every episode, as well as some free gifts, go to illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. And now let's dive in to get your mindset for your life and business set. Hey, Kisma.
How was your week?
Fantastic. I just came back from a 2-day training out in Arizona for Energy Mastery.
You did,
Super
right?
exciting. Yeah, it's really cool. We're bringing more people on. We're going national. It's really cool.
It is so cool. And we always get back to the energy in our podcast. And here we are at our new office.
Another podcast from the new office.
I know. A shout out to
You can't really
Common
hear the
Grounds.
train of truth.
It'll come by. Yeah. The train of truth will come by, I'm sure. So, well, let's dive in because this guest is so special and so busy, and we are extremely grateful to have her on. Sue B. Zimmerman. Sue B. is an insightful social media educator, teacher, energetic speaker, and in-demand business coach. Rumor has it she's had 18 businesses, and I know she'll talk about that. Her blog is ranked as one of the top 10 social media blogs in 2017 by Social Media Examiner. I love that company. She's also one of the most popular Creative Live instructors and has been named by Huffington Post Top 50 Must-Follow Women Entrepreneurs in 2017. And there's so much more to learn. So, Sue, I just want to bring you on. Welcome to Illumination Podcast.
Hey, it's so great to be here with both of you guys.
Thank you. And you're coming from where? Boston?
Yeah, from Boston. I live right downtown Boston in the building that used to be the old Filene's Basement department store.
I know that. You know what I've not really shared with our listeners because it was so long ago? I lived in Boston for 2 years and went to Boston Conservatory. And I lived on Boylston.
Right. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
so
right
I used to live on
school.
Yeah. So I went to Simmons in Boston and I lived on Tremont Street.
Yeah. It's
back in the day.
Great city. Such a great city.
Oh, my God. It's my favorite city and I travel a lot.
Aw. Well, we're so glad that you're here. And, I wanted to kick it off because I feel like you were plopped onto the earth as soon as Instagram was born. But I know that isn't true because it's just like you're everything Instagram and everything perfect Instagram. So give us a little backstory. Like, I think you had a brick and mortar business company. Yeah. Share a bit about the pre-Instagram days, if you would.
Sure. Well, first of all, with Sue B, perfect does not exist. I'm all about progress, not perfection. It's kind of been my mantra ever since I was a young teenager. I discovered the power of Instagram from my retail store that I had for 6 years on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. And I lived there in the summer. And I actually closed the door to my store 2 years ago to go all in teaching Instagram marketing 24/7 for the past, five years now. And I love teaching. I used to teach art classes to little kids. I used to teach on stage at QVC, scrapbooking product that I had, and I used to teach social media. So it was a natural progression for me to discover the power of Instagram from my store where I sold accessories, jewelry, and clothing, all with a nautical Cape Cod vibe, and really amplify and promote and broadcast to those business owners, small business owners is really my sweet spot, who were challenged with making money, bringing people into their store. And I didn't even know that there was this whole online space, meaning you can make money doing what you love teaching to a global audience until about 5 years ago. And as the entrepreneur I've always been, when I'm like, why didn't I know this even existed? I was all in. So all in meaning investing in going to the right conferences, meeting the right people, investing in the right coaches, and hiring the right people, to put myself out there in a big way that can be scary, overwhelming, daunting, and, where people are judging you all the time, and teach.
Yeah.
And teach Instagram, and teach it from a place of true authenticity, and from a place of someone who has actually had success using it, versus I teach Instagram marketing, but I haven't used it for my business. I just teach it.
I just love that. And you do, like, you are so authentic. I'm in your Ready, Set, Graham course. I've been watching you for a while. You really do connect. And it was one of my questions I was going to ask a little bit later, but you mentioned it. So being successful, you have experience, because I know so many entrepreneurs and just people in general seem to go through a period of time where they do worry or fear what other people think or say. So was that ever a thing for you that you had to work through, or you were just like, screw it, guys, I'm going all out?
Yeah, I'm the girl that says, I don't give a shit what you think about me.
I love that. I figured that.
And you know what? I just got Brene Brown's new book, Braving the Wilderness, and it speaks to my core. I mean, obviously we all care about what people say behind your back, but I don't compromise who I am down to my potty mouth. Like, either you like it or you don't. You don't have to follow me. If you don't, it's part of who I am and how I speak, and it's all good, and it's not meant to offend anyone. It's meant to just, hit home with a point. And by the way, hashtag shit ton's my favorite hashtag.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I'm going to start using that one right alongside Soul Slap.
Okay.
Was there a moment when you had your store on Cape Cod and you were having success with Instagram where you just went, wow, this is big? Or was it just gradual and progressive? But I feel like sometimes with these tools and things like that.
Yeah. So what you need to know about me, if we go back 30 years, I am a visionary entrepreneur who does see things before they go mainstream. I was selling Crocs before the world even knew what they were. I was helping create the little gibbets that go in those Crocs. My first business when I was 22, it was my first $1 million business. I was 22 years old in sales. I was not a millionaire. I was silk screening boxer shorts because I knew that they would become outerwear for people to wear on the outside and not just under their garment. And I knew that girls would think they were like risque. And I knew that I could crack into the college market, which is where we made our statement, where my business grew. And then I got licenses from Disney and The Simpsons. And honestly, I think the listeners need to hear this. That business, because my degree is in nutrition from Simmons, which I've never used like professionally, but daily I care about my nutrition. But that business gave me the confidence and the mindset and the validation that what I was passionate about and determined to put into the world got, when people, as soon as people are purchasing it and buying it, and we're doing hundreds of thousands of dollars and $1 million our first year in business, the validation of all that at a very young age, which is basically the age of my twins almost, is really what has helped me. And I realize this more now, given that I'm coaching so many people who haven't had this kind of trajectory of experience, because at the end of the day, it really is your experiences, your stories, and your character that connect other people to you. And because I have so many great stories, good, bad, ugly, all of it, and I have the wisdom from all of the different businesses I've had, people tend to trust me a little bit quicker because I'm not like throwing any shenanigans out there. It's like what I say is true to what I've experienced. And I think that helps, especially in this very noisy digital world where so many people feel like they've purchased a course or hired a coach and didn't get what was supposed to be delivered on promise.
Yeah, that is so true. I mean, we operate a lot in the energetic and spiritual world, and we say the same thing every day. There's so much noise.
Right. And so how do you break through and amplify all of that? And that's why I love Instagram. So this is kind of a good segue if you want me to go into that a little bit.
Well, I'm kind of curious, like when you talk, like one of the things that I hear is just all in. It's like you're an all-in kind of person. Yet we know the importance of social media, and there's like so many different platforms to choose from. Like, how do you choose, and how do you be all in in one without neglecting all the others,
Okay, so great question. And so I want the listeners to also know that I used to teach social media. So I was on Facebook earlier than most people my age. And I have been teaching social media for a long time, 10 years, and 8 years before teaching Instagram. So I was actively on Facebook, and honestly, Facebook is the engine of Instagram and where we get most of our leads from ads that we're able to run. Mm-hmm. Instagram is second. So I personally don't manage our business Facebook page. Rachel on my team does until she goes on maternity leave, and then that's going to be my task. But I focus on Instagram, and we also have a strong presence on Twitter. I just hit 20,000 followers when I was speaking in Maine at Agents of Change this past week. And I don't go into LinkedIn, someone on my team does, and I don't go into Pinterest, someone on my team does. But we have a presence there, and I am on YouTube with a successful channel. I teach a keynote that is the 3-for-1 social media strategy, and we talk about how to use social to drive traffic to your published content, which lives on your website. And so Instagram for us is a tool that we use to nurture, give value, and build trust to drive traffic to our blog, where we can retarget, and hopefully people opt into our free strategy guide and they become someone on our list. Kisma, I'm curious, were you on my list with the guide before you bought Ready, Set, Graham?
No, I just watch you on Instagram. I'm like, this one is amazing. And it's really because we've done so much of our business on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know, Instagram, it's colorful, it's cool. I'm just going to kind of watch. And then you and Peg Fitzpatrick are sort of my two gals. I'm like, they're just crushing it. And then there was one conversation you reached out to me, which I think really, it was just through a little thread, speaks to your connectiveness. And I was like, I need to do this. I finally need to figure out what the heck's going on.
Yeah. So I love that you said that. And yes, Peggy's one of my besties, and we just hung out together. She's awesome. Uh-huh. What I want the listeners to hear is Instagram, of all of the platforms, in my opinion, is where you can have the most intimate conversation, because you can have a direct one-to-one conversation in the Instagram direct message. So what I am finding as of late, because of the explosion of Instagram stories, is that people love my stories on both my personal account and my business account, which are used for different reasons. Business, I'm always teaching Instagram. Personal, day in the life of Sue B. Zimmerman, small, successful business owner. And when people respond to my stories and my videos in my stories, or the content in my stories, I believe it is an opportunity to go deeper in a one-to-one conversation. So deeper for me is either answering their question, or sending them a smiley emoji, or asking them simply if they want to be a part of my VIP community. Mm-hmm. And so instead of selling my course, hey, do you want to buy Ready, Set, Graham? It's like, I do so much more than what you see on Instagram inside my private Facebook group, mm-hmm. where there's over 1,000 people that have invested in this course. Every Sunday I go live for 30 minutes teaching, talking about updates, favorite accounts, etc. So I say, let me know if you want to be a part of my VIP community. So that opens up a conversation where they can say, sure, yeah. And then I'll say, here's the link. Let me know if you have any questions. And that happens after they've been nurtured for some time, mm-hmm. not the first thing I do. Right. And so I think so many people, now there's all these automation tools for Instagram direct messages, which I can't stand. Yeah. Every Instagram direct message I send is literally me sending that message. And sometimes I use Text Expander, which is an amazing tool that you can just put your settings on to say if you're saying the same thing over mm-hmm. and over again, but it's never done in a spammy way, like to sell something. And so I think, Gary Vaynerchuk had an article recently about Instagram direct messages. You might want to link up to this in the show notes, where, he's like, I always say this, the magic goes down in the Instagram direct messages, because every one person that you touch can amplify. I mean, look what happened with you and I. I mean, you asked me to be on your podcast, and now I'm talking to thousands of people and not just you.
Exactly.
Right?
And one thing you did with me is you sent me a little video. Now, I didn't know that those little videos go away. So I went, I was trying to find you again.
That's my ninja. That's my secret sauce.
It's so great. I was like, where'd she go? I want to watch that video again.
So that goes away in 24 hours when you send an Instagram direct message video. And I believe that connectivity eye to eye is so important, and we're all hearing how important video is. And yes, I do Instagram stories, and yes, I do Facebook Live, and I'm on video a lot. But I know that after I've had a conversation with someone, that sending a video, if I'm a sweaty hot mess after a workout or just walking Cody, and they get it, they're like, wait, did she really just send me a video?
Exactly.
I can't believe it. So that's my kind of, let me connect with you deeper and let you know that, like, this is me and this is where I spend my time in my business, front facing, educating, connecting, nurturing, answering questions, and, doing interviews like this, because I think so much of this helps the engine of the business. Unfortunately, so many people don't have the bandwidth to do what I'm able to do because I do have a team. But let me tell everyone listening, even back in the day when I had my store, I still would do videos like this. Like, I am always thinking outside of the box. How can I stand out from everyone else that does what I do? Like, what's my secret sauce? So in my store, it was having shelves for all the little kids that came in. And I would say, you can pour that bucket out and pick your favorite one. And as long as you behave while your mom's shopping, you can take it home with you.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So I'm all about giving the customer the best customer experience, no matter where they are, if it's an online business or if it was my retail shop. And believe me, I used to schlep my products to every direct consumer venue that ever existed.
Yeah, well, this kind of brings, we had mentioned a little bit before, we love getting to the core of the human aspect, the characteristics that define success. I mean, Nick's already determined, like, you're just front and center, go-getter. We get that. But what would you say, like, at the seed of your soul, of your personality, has allowed you to just not stop, to just keep going?
Yeah, I love seed of your soul. That's such a great,
that's our language.
It's so great. I love that. Here's what it is. My daughters, I have 3, are out of the house, and my husband and I have recently moved from the suburbs into the city. And I know that I have had a very fortunate life, especially compared to all of the stories that I've heard over the past 5 years. I mean, I knew that things were good, and I just, I'm not one to compare or want. It's just, living the happiest life I can always. But when I hear stories from so many other people, I do realize how fortunate I've been in all aspects of my life. With that said, I want to leave a legacy for my daughters and for people on the internet, because I do have a global reach that really represents the character of my true persona and the way that I nurture and care and want to help other people make more money. Because making money for me, I've always been able to figure it out. Making money has never been a challenge. And I'm not talking, I'm not talking about so much money that I just can go buy a jet. I'm just talking about, I always am able to figure out how to make the money to have the lifestyle that I want. So that's not a roadblock. And by the way, it is a roadblock for most people. So I've learned to understand that that is one of my many gifts in this online space. And the fact that I'm real and raw and authentic and, have a slight Boston accent and I can be a little bossy and direct, people like it.
They do. I love that. So with that, how do you teach that? Like, you are a great teacher. You're a great coach.
Yes.
And you can give all the strategies and you do that so well. But is there a key to emulating or teaching that to other people?
Yes and no. So there's so much personal work that needs to happen, I believe, before the business. And so on our website, I'll reference this. It's a good place to reference it. We have this amazing opt-in for Instagram, which is a free 20-page strategy guide. But we decided as a company that we needed something more, because I'm not just the Instagram expert. Most of my revenue is from coaching, from one-to-one coaching with my team and from my group coaching called Hives. And so we needed something on our website when we relaunched our website, which is brand spanking new, by the way. It's not even a month old.
Oh, great.
And we redid it, and with that came a new opt-in. And it's 3 days to better business habits. And what we realized is that there's a personal component of habits that you need to really reflect on, and your business habits, like how you set yourself up for success in your workspace and all the habits around that. How do you stay busy getting things done? And your finance. So there's 3 free videos. And by the way, those videos came out amazing, but it took me the whole day to film. I'm talking like I was on my feet the whole day. Like that was such a hard project for me, but I'm really happy at the way they were edited to not only give value as a video, but we also have complimentary downloads for people to follow along, take notes, and just kind of workshop all 3 aspects of their life, because they matter in your business. And the people that opt in to that download, that freemium, that lead magnet, that offer are more warm for what we offer in our business for coaching. And so there's a series of emails that follow the download that you get from that opt-in. And I'm really proud of this, because one thing that we're going to be doing soon is a live workshop in Norfolk, Virginia, where Morgan, who's on my team, lives. And we're going to start teaching, like really teaching these 3 elements of business. And I could see it becoming, either a course or even greater content than what we did in the video. And that's what's important, to everyone listening. It's you basically want to create awesome content. I call it micro content, but this isn't really micro, because micro is kind of what I post on Instagram, but really great content that gives people a charge and then they want more. And so they're like, damn, if this is free, what do I get if I pay for it? So that this is all new. I'm sharing it for the first time on your interview, which is exciting for me. And I think it really speaks more to who I am as a person than the Instagram educator.
Yeah, that's it's interesting. As just before you were mentioning that, I was writing down a question I had was, we talked about that, just not stopping, just going after it and not being thwarted along the way. In my personal opinion, failure is really just when you quit. Like that's it. You can find a million ways to not do something. As long as you don't quit, you're good to go. But what I'm wondering is for you, like you've so many years of experience with so many different people. Like, what do you see, or what do you think stops the most people? Like, what's their stopping point?
It's It's doing the work. It's really doing the work and the execution. And I think my target audience is mostly women, 40 and older, typically, sometimes 35, and sometimes guys. It's not exclusively, but they feel like their kids know more than them with technology. So they get stuck with all the software and all the pieces that you need to have as a foundation to get to the point where you're actually making money online in a way that's automated. This whole kind of automated space that I'm in right now, automation, online marketing and selling. And we use Ontraport for our back end of everything, is new to a lot of people, or foreign, I should say, and people are totally sick of trading time for dollars. And then when you hear, oh, you can do that online, it's like, really? What do I need to do? And then they're like, what? Like it's a foreign language. It's like, where do I start? Who do I trust? What do I need? What software? It is totally overwhelming. So we break down that overwhelm and really educate all the moving parts. We say it takes time. Nothing happens overnight. Anyone who's promising 6 figures, 7 figures in a quick period of time, I wouldn't trust them. It's really taken us 5 years to get where I am today in this space. And I have been relentlessly working around the clock, loving it around the clock, meaning even when I'm on vacation, I log in and I do my thing because I wake up wanting to help the next person and they need me and I want to be there for them. So I do have a hard time completely shutting down, to be honest. And again, I don't have little ones that distract me. If I had my kids in the house, totally different ball game for me, for sure.
Yeah.
And your daughters have businesses, correct? And they're on Instagram. Yeah.
So one of my twins has a very thriving Instagram presence. All 3 of my daughters are on Instagram. The twins are vegan. Lila's been vegan for a while. She was on stage with me at one of my Creative Live courses, and she's the youngest person that was ever on stage. Her Instagram account is Lila Natalie with 2 T's. And she is like a lifestyle blogger, vegan, enthusiast, and just as a 21-year-old, just showing how happy life can be doing what you love. And she's still in college. She's in her senior year, but she's getting a communications degree. She's working at a juice place. She has Blissful Gatherings is her Instagram account, where she gets paid to bring together people to consume a vegan meal that her and her partner actually make and charge for. And I just see like a food truck coming her way or something. Right. She's not coming back from San Diego. Let me just say that.
But we might have to look her up, Nick.
But yeah, I'm really proud of her, obviously. And at 21, I was not as grounded as she is. I was 22 when I started my first business, but grounded in that being vegan is such discipline, for starters. And being clear on what you want and what you don't want. That doesn't happen usually till you're about 30.
Yeah, or beyond.
Or beyond. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like then it's less about, people just being lazy about doing the work and more about just getting overwhelmed and doing all the, maybe spending a lot of time doing maybe not the right things. I'm wondering for you, having been through the process of building a business so many times, like how do you go about setting priorities as far as taking action and really making and keeping the most important thing?
As I said earlier, I have a team, and Morgan, who's on my team, who's been with me for the past 5 years since I launched this business, has a degree from Georgetown University in engineering undergrad and graduate systems management. And she runs the back end of my business. Honestly, she basically tells me what to do, meaning she organizes our team calls, our Trello boards, forecast, and her brain thinks in the future and planning. And, we meet quarterly, we meet yearly, physically in person, my whole team, and we set financial goals that are reasonable. We meet quarterly, we assess them. And because of her brain being so systematic, organized, my brain doesn't work that way. I am a visual, creative artist.
Right.
I'm an artist at heart, and I know based on what's in my calendar from what my team put in my calendar, what I need to do. And so I can be really good at what I love doing. The other thing I want to say to everybody is that we as a team took the Strength Finders test. I don't know if you guys know about this, which wasn't it was an investment in our company. We wanted to celebrate all of our strengths and make it aware to each other what our strengths were from a neutral party. So we hired this person who we took the test. She talked to each of us privately. She talked to us together, and she basically said to us, okay, this is probably the best scenario I've ever seen with a team, a small team, because we all have such different strengths and we all know how to play to each other's strengths, because there are certain things that totally overwhelm me, like scheduling all of the requests I get for my interviews and scheduling all my travel. Like, I have no interest in doing that. I want to be talking to clients, helping people. So Morgan protects me from all the things that I don't enjoy as much as possible, as she's in charge of operations. And she's half my age.
But that's so great. But you set that tone as the leader.
Oh,
that you
yeah.
are, right.
And I love that.
Yeah, I think that really speaks to them being devoted to the cause and the culture of the company, for sure.
Yeah. And that's also one of my whys. Like, I'm building this amazing company with phenomenal employees and subcontractors in a way where I learn right alongside with them, and software changes and WordPress plugins, and I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live, and the systems and the checklist that you need to do to get a goal done based on tasks. So that's what Morgan's, she teaches me all this. Like, Sue, here's a project and these are the tasks, and you need to cross one off at a time. You don't have to do them all at once. And so, like, I want to get it done. Like, she's like, we have a month to get it done. Here's the campaign and here's the end of it. Like, so this is new to me. This is foreign to me. This is me saying, hire or, get support from those who you trust and can learn from. The other thing I do want to mention is that I did hire for the first time ever. Michael Port was my first business coach.
Oh, cool.
And he's amazing. Love him. Like, Book Yourself Solid. If that's a book you haven't read, that's my Bible. And so Michael really, I never worked with anyone before Michael. I didn't feel like I needed to. And, hiring the right coach, surrounding yourself with the right people who you trust, putting yourself in a physical environment like a conference, even if it's out of your industry, out of your comfort zone, because you're an introvert, not an extrovert. And, those things get you to the next place. And I believe it's the small wins that take you to the big win. You've got to go to the small wins first.
I couldn't agree more. And I think it's like, one of the things that I see a lot of is it's so easy to just kind of dismiss those little things. Like, oh, it was just it's not a big deal. But man, like, so many of those little things added up. Like, that's how you get where you want to go. At the end of the day.
Yes. Yeah. It's momentum. It's momentum. You're like standing still and being paralyzed to make a decision.
Oh, the worst.
That makes you feel crazy and like a failure, and you're not going to get anywhere. I'm like, if nothing's happening in your business that's working, go to a local meetup that's free.
Yeah.
Go somewhere to put yourself in a room with like-minded business owners and entrepreneurs who can lift you higher and maybe get you to think outside of your box a little bit.
And it's to me, another one to jar out of that is that simple attitude of service, you get so caught up in your own stuff. And then it's like, well, just go help somebody.
Yeah. Don't make it about
let's
you.
not get all the things and all the systems in the way. Like, just go talk to somebody and help them out with whatever it is that you have.
Yeah.
And that is like such a huge thing to get out of that.
It's a great pattern. Yeah.
Yeah. Do I have time for a quick little story along?
Please do.
Of course. Yeah.
That's exactly what I did. So the first online course I invested in was Marie Forleo's B School, and I'm now a proud partner of B School because that foundation was really the foundation that got me branded online in a way that made sense course-wise. And maybe you can see that in my Ready, Set, Graham course, like the way we deliver it. So I, was a member of her group, which was quite overwhelming, and people were asking questions all the time. So my strategy was to hang out in that group and answer any and every business question I could based on my experience. So a lot of times people would want to just ask another question, and I would say, just direct message me and I'm happy to talk to you. So I started this other Facebook page, which is totally not cool to do anymore, but this was like 4 or 5 years ago, you guys. So it was called Sue B School, and I called it Sue B School because my middle name is Beth, but it was all the people that I talked to from Marie's group, and I wanted to nurture them after those conversations, and I wanted to niche it down to a smaller group, not realizing like now everyone has this ulterior motive to pull people from someone else's group into their own group. And that was not my intention. It was simply to nurture at the time. So I talked to over 200 people because they were all in my little group there and just answered questions. And then, when they were ready to invest in Instagram, or some other service or product, I had a relationship with them. And there is a lot of truth to this law of reciprocity. When you give unconditionally to someone else and help them, they feel some kind of obligation to give something in return if they can. And maybe they can't afford your course, but maybe they'll talk about you at the next networking event, or, send you a sweet card in the mail, or, stay connected to you. So I always say every single person that you can help and talk to can easily be multiplied. And that was my experience from doing what I did a long time ago. And that validated my desire to continue to answer questions. So on our website, we do have a graphic with a free 15-minute call with me. And twice a week, I have calls booked for 15-minute calls for people who have a question, usually around Instagram. I'm able to answer it, and then I'm able to listen to what they need next. Right. And sometimes next might just be my free Facebook group called Instagram Results for Business, or maybe it's my YouTube channel, or maybe it's some of my blog posts. So maybe it's the free content, or maybe they're saying, oh gosh, I'm so confused with hashtags. I have a headache. No problem. I have a hashtag stories class. I've got a hashtag handbook, or I need Instagram stories, or, based on what they need after I've answered their question for that 15 minutes. And I always say at the very beginning, tell me the thing you want to accomplish in this 15 minutes so I can make sure that, I deliver on that.
That's so good.
So it's so good. And it's amazing the success that I have from these calls that turn into so much more than that.
That's pretty inspiring, Nick, right? A lot of times our calls are 30 minutes or longer, like that 15 minutes of wisdom.
Oh my gosh. It used to be 20, and I had to shorten it because it's just time. And, I bill out at $500 an hour, and it was just like, time is time. So, but it's so worth really helping someone with their pain point.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Well, and I so appreciate your attitude behind it of just really not bringing an agenda other than let me know how I can help you. And it's like,
absolutely.
Whatever their next step is whatever that is.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't, so I've been doing this forever, and now I see people talking about it all over Facebook, and like do a free call, get on a free call, tell them that you're a coach, get on a free call, and then upsell them your coaching package. You cannot have an agenda.
Yeah.
If you do, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I know that it helps grow my amazing community.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Community over competition.
The people like me, you send a link, it's like, this would help you. I'm like, cool, great. I'm going to get this. I mean, the people that are ready to buy something at that point in time are just going to buy it because they're looking for that next step. And it's so clean and clear. I love that. I want to pivot real quick because there was something that I just had in the back of my head, and it could be my awareness on social media. But I feel like, especially Instagram, it seems to be that there are more female entrepreneurs having success in social media. And I wonder if that's your same perception, Sue B. And if so, does it have to do with the connective nature and the creative nature of social media?
Well, I like that you're saying that. That is clearly where I focus most of my time, is empowering women, and that's my avatar. So I think women naturally can multitask like a ninja, meaning be on multiple social platforms, or at least answer an Instagram direct message and get back to work, or maybe not, who knows. But I feel like that's true. But more importantly, I think from my experience, specifically looking at Instagram accounts, there are more female accounts that have the aesthetic piece. And that is so important. And I'm not being sexist here at all. It's just who I'm following. Clearly there's so many amazing guy accounts. I mean, camping with dogs is one of my favorites. And, I often highlight them. But I think just if you are a designer, a photographer, an artist, it's just easier. And that who is typically attracted to me, because that's more of who I am. Yeah. So I do notice that it is in my wheelhouse, but I also think that so many women who do have other responsibilities or who want a side hustle can be a virtual assistant, can be that graphic designer to help create something for a bigger company, can do work on the side, can transcribe videos or edit videos and make extra money and feel like they're contributing to the household. And that validation feels really good outside of being a mother.
Right.
If that, because I mean, I know that when my girls were little, I always worked. I had to do something for myself. I couldn't just raise them. I would go crazy because they required so much from me that I felt like I was losing a piece of myself.
Exactly. And it's a way for mothers, women, men, fathers, everyone to contribute to the planet, like to have that voice and to have whatever the company, the culture, to do something that, through achievement is helping the planet.
Love that. So true.
You mentioned the 18 businesses. That seems like a lot. Are any of those still active, or are you all in with your one business right now?
Yeah, so it is hashtag a shit ton of businesses, and I know that that's not normal. Again, and by the way, my first business, that boxer short business, was a really big win for me at a young age, like I said, and then I just figured out how to do a lot from that business. Most of those other businesses were product-based, demographically based in and around the Boston area. Did a lot of consulting as well. As of now, this is the only business I've actively been doing for the past 2 years. But I was running Scooby-Doo, my store, and this business at the same time for about 3 years because my store was so successful and it was hard to give up the income from that. Or, I also had 7 employees that I loved. I loved mentoring the young girls that worked for me. And I love meeting my customers. So I had so much experience, like with direct eye-to-eye contact with customers. And I think that's helped a lot in this online space. But a lot of the tactics that I used in that store, I've been able to strategically and creatively think about how can I stand out online, hence my hashtag signs and my Instagram pillow and all the props that I always have when I travel and speak and have in my broadcast, like those little tangible things, whether it's a bee or an anchor, I know help people. Like I remind them of that when they see it. So staying top of mind in this noisy space is something I know I'm good at because of how I dress and how I utilize props.
Right. I love that.
Yeah, all in. You're truly all in.
You're in all in. Well, I have one final question. It's one of the questions I love asking our guests. Is there anything that you've not yet done that's in your bucket list and you've not told anybody about?
I want to skydive, even though my husband might not want to, because one of my twins did it. And she's like, oh, Mom, you got to do this. So that's in my bucket list. I'm also, I want to go back some brushes and paint pens and coloring. I love, I used to take calligraphy and private art lessons, and I probably could have been an artist. I love watercoloring. And I just feel like so much of that fulfillment comes from Instagram for me, being creative. And so when you do look at my feed on the Instagram Expert, you get a sense of obviously that creativity and the vibe of my feed feeling like Instagram and the bright colors and my personality. And so that is all obviously intentionally done every single post. And on my personal account, Subi Zimmerman, the same feeling is there. Yeah. And I'm definitely that person that kind of does what I want to do.
What you want to do.
So, yeah.
I just thought maybe you'd be running for office or something.
Oh, no, I'm so not into politics. Like, don't even go there with me. I think that's, my husband says to me, I think that you're so happy every day because you really don't pay too much attention to politics.
Yeah, this could be correct.
I'm like, honey, I think you're right with that one. Because people that I just know get so angry. And I'm like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, so I feel blessed in that I do get to do the things that make me happy and make me soar and change the world and help others.
That is great. Well, tell our listeners how they can best get in touch with you. You have the Instagram Expert and you have your personal Subi.
Can I give your listeners a challenge?
Yes.
Oh, by all means.
Yeah. Okay, so as you guys are listening to this podcast, clearly if you're driving, do not do this, but pull over. I want you guys to take like a selfie and show us where you're listening to this. Are you walking your dog? Are you shopping? Are you just sitting and having tea or coffee? And if you're too embarrassed to take a selfie, you can take a hashtag Desky because that's a thing. And
great.
like show us the screen of you listening and post it on Instagram. But, make sure it's Instagram worthy, obviously, and use the hashtag Sueb, SUEB, made me do it. And if you look at that hashtag on Instagram, this is the challenge I give whenever I get interviewed on podcast.
I love this.
Because it's a way for the community to all see what other people have done. And it's also a way for people to see other podcast interviews that I have been on.
Right.
And so they should totally mention you guys as well. So do you want to direct them to your Instagram account?
Kisma Awake, KISMAAWAKE is the best one to use right now.
Cool. So they should totally tag you on that post so you get a notification.
Oh, would love to see everyone listening to our podcast.
Yeah. And I think that's fun because a lot of people that do podcasts don't know how to post on Instagram. All they do is post a photo with their guest, and that's not what you do on Instagram.
Okay.
You can do that on Facebook, but not Instagram.
Okay. Well, we're gonna ramp up our Instagram.
Cool.
And we just so appreciate you being here. Any last words of wisdom?
Yeah. So everyone listening, please grab our strategy guide that I talked about in this interview. Usually it is on the Instagram Expert as an opt-in, but if you go to our website, SuebZimmerman.com, the opt-in is front and center. You might want to grab the strategy guide. You might want to grab the 3 days to better business habits, or you can grab both.
Great. We'll put those in the show notes as well.
Yeah. And I think you'll be able to just kind of see the way our business has evolved and continues to change.
Great. Awesome.
Oh my gosh, we are so appreciative of your time and your effort and everything that you shared here. Just thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show and for being here with us today. Thank you.
Yes.
Sure, my pleasure. This was a lot of fun, you guys.
Wow, that was so exciting.
Wasn't it great?
Yeah.
She's a rock star.
I had no idea about all of her business background, so it's really cool to learn all about that.
I knew about her Cape Cod store because I used to watch it on Instagram. It was like the cutest thing, and I was like, oh, if I ever get there, I got to go to the store. And just it reminded me too, when we had the yoga studio, I really miss that community. I miss everybody there. And when you make a shift, it's like having that connection in the online world. It's slightly different, but it's very possible.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I really took away from it was that, we see somebody become like an instant success, like you're Insta famous all of a sudden. And that doesn't happen by accident.
No, it does not.
And it's not as instant, I think, as as people might think. There's all these different iterations and evolutions to really create that, and all the background that goes into it. And I think she's a really shining example of that, of just living the entrepreneurial life and being all in, like through the whole thing.
Being a good human.
Just being a good human.
Yeah, interesting. I love when those good humans win. They usually do.
Wow. Well, thanks everybody so much for being here and for checking out the episode. If you liked it, definitely give us a rating and review.
Give it a share.
Share it with a friend.
Remember that challenge. Hashtag Sueb made me do it. Take a little selfie and get that up on Instagram and tag Kisma Awake and Nick Hansinger.
Yep. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.
Namaste.